baby. Yeah. Good evening and welcome to the show. My name is New York Nick. It's Up Close and Personal, live from the studios of New York Nick Productions. What's happening? How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. How you doing?
I'm great.
I didn't ask you guys. I was asking the folks out there. In studio tonight, we have Stonethrow in the house. What's up, gentlemen?
Shaking off a fabulous St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm running a little slow myself, to be honest with you. What'd you guys do last night?
I don't like to talk about it.
No, really, what'd you all do last night? Did you guys have a gig?
Yeah, I was doing a sit-in gig with a local area rock cover band called Unleaded. Their singer's in Germany right now. He's in the military reserve, some branch. I don't want to get it wrong, so I said military. But I was filling in for them last night up in Gainesville. We had green beer was flowing.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you play in Gainesville?
AJ's.
AJ's. Yeah, I've heard that
I'm
name
away from
come up
home.
a few times. What kind of venue is that, or is it just a bar?
It's just a small bar restaurant type deal, but they have a pretty good music scene that they have going on in there on Friday nights.
So what's up, boys? Stonethrow in the house.
Yeah. Finally.
Another one of my local favorites.
Thank you.
What you
Thanks,
guys
sir.
been up
Thank
to,
you.
man? How's it going out there?
Doing well. We're been pretty busy here lately with a lot of the out of state travel shows and everything. Trying to finish up some of that we had left over from this first little mini tour that we're doing. Just got back in from Kentucky last week. Had a show up there, and about to head back out again a couple of weeks from now. We've got a local show next week up in Gainesville, and. So staying fairly busy, trying to.
So who are the other members? First, let me. I'm being rude here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
I'm Alex Martinez. I play bass and do backup vocals.
He says that. He's a computer. I'm Jonathan Ingram. I play guitar and also sing lead vocals.
Stonethrow. So where did that name come from?
Talk to this guy.
It actually started kind of for one, there's not that many good band names out there anymore.
Nope.
And but when we first put the project together, it was two of the members were from Kentucky and then two of us were from here, so the kind of stone's throw distance between the two, and it kind of snowballed into it, and then had to kind of combine it into one word because of course there's already a stone's throw out there, and it's the name of a Candlebox song.
Oh, Candlebox. We'll talk about that a little bit
Shameless
later.
promo.
You had to throw the Candlebox out there early in the show, didn't you? So, Jonathan, what's your background in the industry here in the ATL?
I actually started playing probably out regularly with my first original band. It was a band called Down to None. We did mostly just the North Georgia area, occasionally into Atlanta, doing some shows out there. Kind of a heavy alternative type band, but that was back in the early 2000s when I started out with that, and played with a band called Stealing Third for a good bit, which was more of a alternative cover band type deal that we did a lot throughout the whole Southeast, and then started with the Stonethrow project while writing a original pre-production demo for Stealing Third, and then it kind of shifted into Stonethrow. So.
What about you, Alex? What's your background?
I pretty much started at the same time he did. Playing. I started with a band called 10 Over 6, and that kind of fell apart. And then we started with yeah, you remember it. And then we started Gravity Zero, and I was doing that for years. We started out as the original band, and then we kind of did the cover band scene, and then that kind of fell apart. We're still kind of around, but more, on the underground stuff.
So what are some of the, favorite places that you guys like to play in?
We've had actually, whether it be with Stonethrow or with the other bands, there's been some pretty cool venues, but around here it's hard to beat 37 Main's a great rock club.
Great.
Hard Rock Cafe in downtown is a really great rock club. Some of the places that we've had the opportunity to play out of state are really cool too. We just got done playing at the Phoenix Hill Tavern up in Louisville, Kentucky. That's a really cool venue. It's got like it's like kind of like Club La Vila, only it's in Kentucky. But
you go upstairs, you feel like you're in Avatar or something.
Right? Yeah, you're in Biodome up there. But there's like 4 venues under just basically in this one complex that you have all the things for. So that was a really cool venue. And we got a couple on this tour that we've got coming up that should be a lot of fun too. They've got a pretty good bit of history about them, so I'm looking forward to getting down there to those for the first time.
So I also understand you guys, not only do you do original music, you guys are also involved in the tribute cover type music. Who are some of the bands you play with in town here that do covers?
I moonlight actually as a honky tonk guitarist for
honky tonk.
Honky tonk.
Look, hey, you get your guitar right there. Let me hear some of that real quick. I want to hear some honky tonk stuff.
Got some Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah. I mean, come on, yeah. Let's do it right now. Some honky tonk here on New York Nick Live. Up close and personal with Stonethrow. Come on, some more, man. I want to hear some more, man. I love that crap. Yeah. So you actually play with some honky tonk?
Yeah, there's a band called Bourbon Borderline. It's actually my brother is the singer for that group, and it's kind of a '90s country throwback tribute thing that we do. And I noticed you had the Garth Brooks box set up here, so you might have to come check us out sometime. But
absolutely.
I do that to.
Hey, if it's original, man, I love it, man. I love all original music, man. I just love the artistry of the original artist, man. That's my gig, man.
Yeah.
You know,
it's mostly cover stuff we do with that, but it's
is it?
It's certainly unique to see somebody that sometimes has black fingernail polish still playing on a Telecaster out there. So.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, everybody asks me, they can't believe you actually play country.
Yeah. I grew up on country stuff and found my niche in rock and roll. So
well, speaking of that, where are you from originally?
From Gainesville originally.
You're from Gainesville?
I am.
Wow. Very few of you guys left, huh?
Yeah, not a whole lot of us made it out.
Nope.
Gainesville is known as, well, I'm not going to go there. a lot of Mexicanos in Gainesville now, man. Got the chicken farms up there, man.
Oh, indeed.
So what do you got coming up, man?
Actually, we have a local show up at the Monkey Barrel in Gainesville that we're doing next
the Monkey
Saturday.
Barrel. Where's that now?
It's right on the square in Gainesville. It's actually a pretty cool spot. It's been there. It's probably been there since the late '80s, early '90s when they first opened it up. It was really the only music venue there was up there for the longest. And then once some of the larger bars started moving in, there's some other stuff up there now. But it's definitely the one that's been there for the longest. But we're doing one there with a friend of ours band called DeQuelo. They're a original heavy rock band out of the same area.
Great band.
Yeah,
cool.
they're kind of just back from the ashes. They kind of disappeared for probably better part of 2 or 3 years, and so once they started playing again, we had to get the opportunity to put both bands under one roof because it's 2 of the few all original bands that are still out of Gainesville right now. So it should be a fun show. We've got that, and then following week we leave down. We have a show in Birmingham at the Nick. Which is that's actually a really cool venue.
It is.
The entire if you've never been to the Nick in Birmingham, it's got some history on it too. I think they said it opened in the '70s, and every wall in there is covered with nothing but band stickers. I mean, it's
really
we had to put our sticker on the tip jar because that was the only vacant real estate left in there. But that's a really cool spot. And then we're going down to Mobile, playing at the Soul Kitchen down there, which is another place that has a lot of national acts and things through it. And then we kick over to Pascagoula, Mississippi. And I don't know anything about Pascagoula, Mississippi, but we will find out.
Oh, yeah.
So you do Florida at all? You go down to Florida? Have you done anything down there at all?
With Stonethrow, we haven't yet, but we are planning to. We're hoping to add some stuff to couple up with those areas down there that we're branching into those markets with.
So Alex, what you got in your repertoire?
As far as like song-wise, bass-wise, whatnot.
Bands you played with.
Pretty much I stuck with Gravity Zero for the longest time. Me and the lead singer, we still do acoustic shows here and there as GZ, and we're looking to do some original material later on down the road once we both have time to do it. So.
Now, speaking of the original material, what do you got? What's your take on original music in this town? I mean, when I say in this town, and I want to discuss this with all the bands I bring in and do interviews with, but original music is tough to get out there, and tribute bands and the cover bands, they do really well because folks want to go hang out and listen to music that they know. Okay, I mean that's the general rule anyway. What made you guys get into original music? I mean, what was your focus when you decided, hey, you know what, I want to write original music?
For me, part of the reason I ever got into the cover scene when I was doing Stealing Third was because I was kind of wrapped up in a writer's block at the time and didn't have anything new that was coming to me. So I decided I was, might as well get out there and play some and network, and hopefully the writing will come back, which it eventually did. And it kind of helped bridge the transition into Stonethrow because there were a handful of the songs that I had already written in the Stealing Third era that we started mixing in with the night of cover music. So we already had some established fan base when we came out with Stonethrow and did the full original effort. Once I started writing again, obviously my passion lies with writing music and doing the original music thing. So unlike a lot of bands who start out only doing originals, we at least had a pretty solid fan base transition over from the cover effort that we were doing. So it worked out pretty well.
Now, is there some sort of how should I say, frustration of getting your music out in Atlanta?
Yeah, in some ways. Yeah. It's
a lot easier than it used to be. The last original band I was with was in the early 2000s, Down to None, that I was telling you about. And there were no MySpace or Facebook or Reverb Nation or anything like that back then. And you had to go you had to go and stand outside of concert venues and hand out your stuff and do the
people been doing it for a long time.
Oh yeah, delivering posters to the venues. It seems like such an archaic thing now. Nowadays you email them the flyer file and they're hanging on the walls when you get there. So it's amazing how much it's changed just in the past decade.
So with that said, what steps have you guys taken to kind of get your music out there?
We're doing a lot through the independent and internet radio. We found a lot with that. Really worldwide. There's a couple of larger, and then there's a lot of the regional ones that we're dealing with that. The listenership varies as to what you have on there, but it's a really good tool for getting your stuff out there. And as long as you have something that fits into which individual stations formats, it's definitely a good way of being able to grow your music to people who otherwise you wouldn't be able to be exposed to. You can make the argument that your accessibility for exposure is greater without actually touring than it is when you're touring,
right?
Because economic conditions being the way they are, people aren't going out as much as they were, and a lot of places that aren't strictly original music venues, when they have original nights or anything like that, it's a lot of times through the week, and just the going out attendance scene isn't what it was even a few years ago. So you actually stand a really good chance of enhanced exposure by pounding away at the internet radio and things like that, as opposed to loading up without a publicity campaign and just hoping somebody shows up at your stuff out of your own region. So
have you been exposed to any national acts, any national shows in the Atlanta area? Have you opened or played for any big bands?
Several actually. We our very first show was actually opening for Fuel. We did the direct support for Fuel up at 37 Main that we were mentioning from down in Buford. It was the first time Fuel came through. They've been through a couple of times. We weren't on the last one, but our very first show was actually with them. We later did Taproot. Yeah. We did Tantric. Yeah, we did Tantric out. We did a little tour run with them into Tennessee and stuff. We jumped on this festival out in Mississippi that had who was on that? All That Remains, 10 years. I was borderline suffering a heat stroke, so I don't really remember a whole lot of that. It was August in Mississippi, and it was 117 degrees at 5 o'clock when we took the stage. So it was all I could do just to stand up there for the for the hour set that we had.
Now, do you feel being an upcoming local original artist that playing and with these bands, has it helped you?
Absolutely.
Has it given you the exposure that you anticipated?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're really focusing on doing now, is trying to jump onto regional tours with some of the national acts that are going through, and jumping onto a week or 2 weeks legs worth of that, because the exposure that you're able to get into new markets, not to mention in your own, is infinitely more than what you'd be able to get on your own. But just being able to see national bands, especially when you do little mini runs with them and things like that, being able to watch their show and learn from them and just kind of see what works, how they're what is working in live shows, because these guys, that's what they're doing full time. They're doing it every night of the week, so they've definitely honed their live show craft. So you're able to learn a lot from that, and you can't go wrong with being able to see a great band live every night from the best seat in the house. So.
My name is New York Nick. We are here live with the band Stonethrow. We're going to take a quick 15-second break. We're going to listen to a little bit of music, and then when we come back, we're going to hear a song from these guys.
I guess I did screaming last night.
Alrighty. New York Nick coming to you live from the studios of New York Nick Productions. Tonight, New York Nick live, up close and personal with Stonethrow. We are back. Gonna do a song for us, man?
Yeah, I'll do one to get started up here. I'm still trying to shake off the cobwebs from the St. Patrick's festivities, but this is a song that was actually when we released our EP, The Spark and the Flame. We did we released onto all the digital distribution, iTunes, Amazon, things like that, and we recorded a bonus track, acoustic, just for the digital downloads. So this one's actually not on the hard copy CD that's available at the shows and things, but it's if you're iTunes or Amazon or Spotify or whoever, basically anything that you can, anywhere digital downloads are available, it's on there. It's called The Spark and the Flame is the name of the EP. But this was a bonus track called The Real You. Given time to mend, even this will end. Our hands we throw up into the air, while leaving would suggest I've laid your greatest fears to rest. The answer's burning still within my hands. Just close your eyes, this all will die. Finally walking in their shoes, you stand against the innocent who fall behind. Lay fingerprints in something new, just to find it pointing back at you, and learning to define the real you.
So long, friend, I say, another dream to chase. Our ties are cut then, heading to our rake. With a sudden passing glance, I dare to give that dream a chance. I smash the hourglass, and in the center way. Just close your eyes, this all will die. Finally you're walking in their shoes. You stand against the innocent who fall behind. Lay fingerprints in something new, to find it pointing back at you, and learning to define the real you. You've got to pull yourself together before you tear yourself apart. You feel the heavens thunder rolling, and gates of hell are overflowing, heading back to the start. Just close your eyes, this all will die. Finally you're walking in their shoes. You stand against the innocent who fall behind. Lay fingerprints in something new, just to find it pointing back at you, and learning to define the real you. Just learning to define the real you.
Excellent. We actually do have a live audience tonight.
Yeah! Applause, son!
Yes.
Come on, some clapping, maybe. Yeah, that was beautiful, wasn't it? This is New York Nick. We're here live with Stonethrow. We got the guys from Defying Silence in the house. They've been very quiet up to now. I can't believe it. But they are here, and they are supporting.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
These guys are the premier local music supporters in this area.
You know, I wish...
They've been at every show I've ever been to.
Well, you know, it's I've said it about these guys before, and I'll say it again. And how I feel about the industry in this town, period. I think, and I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in my face, until y'all get sick and tired of hearing it. I think bands need to support bands in this town. Absolutely. And not worry about all the time who's coming out to see them. It's who you're going to see,
Exactly.
babe. Right. Who you can help promote. We're going to talk about that in a minute, too, there. Jake and Brian's in the house. What is it, Athea?
Athiel.
No, I'm kidding.
It's all good. You still know it, though.
I do still do it. I call it how I see it. You know, I'm that typical northerner that can't speak. But anyway, all right. So back to Stonethrow. All right, guys. What's your dreams and aspirations with all of this? Because you guys, and among other bands in this town, work very, very hard to get your music out. You guys do what you can to get into the venues and to express yourself and to share your music. What are you thinking? What are you dreaming, man?
Really, one of my first things that I ever wanted to do when I first got involved with writing music was to emulate one of those just truly complete albums like what we grew up with, being, children of the early 90s. You think about an album like Pearl Jam's 10 or Stone Temple Pilots Core or Live Throwing Copper or something like that, there's not a second off of those records that I wouldn't listen to. I want to write an album like that. That was always what I would always envision when I first started writing music, was to write an album. You have so much, not to insult anybody's art, but you have so much filler music in albums these days. Even in bands that I still like and support a lot. It feels like they rush the album, and there's a lot of filler music and things like that in it. So it's like, just to come out with even if it was just one, I would hope to write several. But if I could write my 10 or my core, that would be a big one crossed off the list as far as what I wanted to do with music.
Now, what steps do you take where do you get your material from, basically? I always go, what's your inspiration? Is it about life? Or where do you get your material?
I'm really all across the map with where I pull from a lyrical standpoint. The song that I just played a second ago, "The Real You," was actually about the formation of Stonethrow. It was, without having the lyrics right here in front of you, but it was actually kind of about, making that jump from one band and, something that was a well-established act with Stonethrow and going into Stonethrow. That was what that song was about. So, it's not, I'm not really big on writing breakup music or, love songs or anything like that. I'm pulling from all over the map with things. So it's, anything that necessarily might not be something that's a personal experience, but something maybe that I see happening with someone else, and that inspires me to write, or any number of things. I don't have one singular influence as to where my writing comes from. So,
well, speaking of influences, who are your influences? What
So many.
Yeah.
I mean, if you was to put your finger on one major influence, we don't have to sit here and name a whole bunch. If you was to put a finger on one major influence that affected the way you write, the way you play, the way you express yourself, who would it be?
For me, my A1 would be Alice in Chains, more specifically Jerry Cantrell would be my top. There's a host of others at A2, but that's Cantrell's music was always very, very inspirational, and really anything that he ever had anything to do with Alice in Chains or with his solo albums. I play multiple instruments. I play guitar and sing, but I also play bass and play drums as well, and pretty much in any of those fields, those are still my primary influences. Those early Alice in Chains records. So if I have to name one, that's where I'm going. Dwight Yoakam's a close second.
What about you, Alex?
I'd say Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan.
Really?
Yeah, I love how the way everything's structured on every album. I mean, everything's so different, and I'm like, gosh, how do they do it? So, and for I don't know, and I like a lot of Rush, and definitely Silverchair, bands like that.
Do you really? I mean, I sit back sometimes and I think of U2, and I think of the Beatles, and I think of Guns N' Roses, and I think of the Who, and I think about Zeppelin, all of those big bands from the 70s and 80s, and you wonder where the hell do they get this material?
Oh, I know.
Where does it come from?
No.
I mean, the hits. The hits just keep rolling when you think about Led Zeppelin and the Who and Guns N' Roses. I mean, how many? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
And they all came from an era where you had never heard anything like that before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just freaky to me, man. It's just, where did they get this stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
even bands like Rush.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have the super hits, but they had enough. Mm-hmm. And they had enough to do how many albums?
Right.
I know.
Rush is one of my biggest. I love Rush.
Well, they're still going.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. So with that said, how do you plan on competing with that?
I don't think
Trying to be in the original industry, because that's what you have to compete with. Is that what's wrong with music today? Why rock and roll supposedly is dying because there is no competition out there?
I can see it. Definitely.
There's, I have a theory on this, and anybody involved in the independent and original, unsigned music would probably agree, is that, FM radio still predominantly controls what what your common listener hears.
Right.
Over the past few years, that's changed a lot with the introduction of Pandora and other on-demand style internet radio, things like that. There's a lot more music out there than what's being played on your FM control, your major corporate FM
Right.
stations.
Right.
And the more I've gotten involved in the independent scene, since I've, the release of the EP and everything, the more I'm finding most of the bands that I've listened to recently, nobody's probably ever heard of, and that's unfortunate.
Right.
Because there is a very lively rock and roll underground scene, but it's being shoved underground still.
Yep.
So it's hard to find it, but it is there if you go looking for it.
It's a
So I'm
shame.
hoping it will finally overtake the hands that are holding it down and have a revolution. We all want to have some kind of revolution of some sort in rock and roll.
Yeah.
Now, the 2000s have been around for 12 years.
Yeah.
All right? Can you name 4 bands in the 2000s? I'm not talking the 90s. I'm not talking the 80s. I'm not talking this. I'm talking about the 2000s. It's been around for 12 years. Name me 4 rock and roll bands right now
I don't think I can.
besides the Foo Fighters
And even they
that are
were,
prominent,
yeah.
that are out there.
Yeah.
That
I don't remember hearing
spark.
I don't remember hearing of Disturbed until the 2000s, and that's about all you hear nowadays.
I mean, nobody talks about the 2000s in rock and roll, man.
We were talking the other day. It was funny this came up because
I know it sounds stupid, but
This
Well,
is
that's
here's
the
a-
state of
here's-
rock and roll right now.
here's a very telling thing. When Pearl Jam released the 20th anniversary of their 10 album, they released a track that didn't even make their album called Brother. Immediately was the best song on rock radio. Something that wasn't even good enough to make an album, and they release it for an
Right.
anniversary, and it's immediately the top song on rock radio.
Nirvana did the same thing.
With
You
back
know
in
you're
it was
right.
in the earlier
Yeah.
2000s, they released a B-side track that was never on anything with "You Know You're Right," and it was immediately the best song.
Yep.
Right.
So, and this is stuff that wasn't even good enough to make an album cut. So,
So what do you think of the Alta Bridge and the Shine Down and the who else? Chevelle.
love Alta
Seether. Bush is lingering around.
Oh, yeah.
And they're trying to do some new
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
I actually like most of those. Shinedown was actually a regional band. First time I ever heard them, I was going on vacation down into Panama City, and they were playing them on the local Florida stations there. I guess I think they were out of Jacksonville,
Mm-hmm.
so they were actually getting some play down there. And it was probably another 3 or 4 years before they started getting any significant play nationally. And it was really when they did the Simple Man cover was when they kind of blew up into a national band. But I had been familiar with them for a while. Seether, I like their early stuff. I like the early stuff. Karma and Effect was actually one of my top albums of the last 15 years.
Alter Bridge is just.
Yeah. Alex is a big Alter Bridge.
I love
fan.
I love Alta Bridge
Mark
myself.
Money's great.
But I mean, local radio stations, I'm not going to name, but they have to do more to support the local music
Oh,
scene,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
And they know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to start naming names because I don't want to get any cease and assist freaking emails about talking about my radio station Clear Channel on your little internet show. You know what I mean? So anyway, are you gonna play another one for us? How many you got for us, man? These 15-minute segments are going quick, aren't they?
Yeah, hey.
I mean, cool. You want to bring the Defiant Silence boys?
We need to have the friends couch in here. We need to have the friends couch.
They're jonesing over there. This might turn into like a circle jerk. All right, so let's bust it out of the box.
All right, yeah.
You got something big you want to share, but before we go there, we're gonna play some more music and another song. We'll be right back.
You want to do? I might can do on this. My voice is trash from last night. It was low.
You are watching New York Nick live, up close and personal.
We'll have to stand up on this one to get some air.
Stand up! Stand up and shout! That was a great movie.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back. My name is New York Nick.
There's my couch.
I told you that about 4 times already. We're here with Stonethrow. They're gonna do another little ditty for us. We're having some fun. It's starting to pick up a little bit.
I'm trying to get to where I can stand here.
Trying to get over the hangovers from St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. So you got another one for us, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. This was actually the first single that we've been pushing. We actually have a video and everything on YouTube for this one. It's called "The Long Kiss Goodnight." Let Alex play this one so he doesn't feel completely. It's hard to bring a bass player to a duo acoustic session. You know, it's like, what do they do? But
It's all good, man.
Luckily he's a multi-talented individual.
You know what I like about what you're doing, Alex?
It's not cocaine.
You're here, man.
Oh, absolutely, man.
You're plugging it away, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing the deal. It's called promotion.
Oh yeah, that's what I do, man.
Let's do it.
Suppose I found a reason to go on through the line, but I'm fine just to do it again. I might not beat the demons, but I'm holding true to mine, and it's time I can prove it to them. I seem to fall on anger when lonely scenes are screaming by. I go inside. I never found a place to love, a place to run and hide. It's not my final answer, but it seems it's only right. When you leave the fire burning, just to seal it with the long kiss goodnight. Inside a vision, I hope to stand my ground. At the sound of the break in the band, embracing indecision, a cold, relentless crowd. It's disallowed, though I'm taking it in. I seem to fall on anger, but lonely scenes are screaming by. I go but it seems it's only right when you leave the fire burning, seal it with the long kiss goodnight. I cannot leave here, cannot stray from the path laid to my grave. Now believing thoughts I sway, gonna take me off somewhere. St. Patrick's Day. It seemed to take and fly. Wave goodbye. And to life the screaming by. I go inside. I never found a place to love, a place to run and hide. It's not my final answer, but it seems it's only right when you leave the fire burning, to seal it with the long kiss goodnight.
Yeah, Stonethrow.
Being up at 3 a.m. screaming this morning may have not been the best idea before.
Yeah, you know, we all had a little party going on last night. You know, it's St. Patrick's Day. We all drank some green beer.
Green Bear actually messed me up.
I actually went to a Blizzard of Ozzy tribute show last night at Wild Bill's. When I'm not at Wild Bill's, I'm at 37 Main. When I'm not at 37 Main, I'm at the Peachtree Tavern. When I'm not at the Peachtree Tavern, I'm at the Hard Rock Cafe. When I'm not at the Hard Rock Cafe, I'm at Midtown. What's the one down there? Yeah, over there. What's the Vinyl and places like that. That's where you can find some good originals. Eddie's Attic. I mean, there's a bunch. There's
Smith's
a bunch
is a
of
great place, unless you're
Smith's a
playing there
good
and you have
place.
to go to the
You know,
steps.
this town is not lacking places to play original music. It's trying to draw in a crowd and just grasp and enjoy what people have to offer. You know, you may not always like it, but support it because you don't like it, it doesn't mean other people don't like it. So what do you think is wrong with the support system in Atlanta? Because I'm going to ask everybody that, and I'm going to beat it like a freaking dead horse until it turns blue. Did I sound New York there? Horse.
That was the first one I've heard so far.
Horse. Beat it like a fucking horse. That's my first foul language for the show too. I try not to use foul language.
I've been behaving.
Well, you know, it's I'm trying to get Carlos from the Lounge magazine to post my my videos and and my reruns, I should call them, my videos. What the frick is that?
Hangover.
I am just moving very, very slow today, but it's my pleasure to have the guys from Stonethrow in the house. So tell us what you got cooking. I hear you got something big.
We do. We actually just announced it a week ago. It's 37 Main. We need their sponsorship on here, you know.
Yeah.
We are opening for we're opening for Candlebox at 37 on Wednesday, April the 11th.
Candlebox.
Candlebox was
Coming to the ATL, coming to Gwinnett.
All original members too.
So that's another one for your resume.
Yep, get to add that one on there, and I would count Candlebox as a top influence of mine. So from a style perspective, hopefully it will be a very good mix for us.
Now.
And hopefully we can help bring them across.
I'm going to go ahead and bring this up just because I've been talking about bands, supporting bands, just support, period, man. The boys from the guys, the men from Defying Silence.
The ladies.
You know, whether they have a big old schlong or not, I don't know. All right? So check this out. They came in and what did they just do right just then? Just now.
You want me to try and describe it?
No. What did they just buy from you? What did they just pay their hard-earned money for?
Oh, they actually came to get their Candlebox tickets. That's what they were doing.
How many did you sell? How many did you sell them?
Jake got 6.
$90.
He can't pick a woman for the date, so he's just gonna get
He's gonna
several.
just bring-
He's bringing a bunch of dudes with it.
So he came. He spent $90 to come out and support Candlebox and you guys, and that's what we need more of, folks. I can't say it enough. We need more support for these guys out. You know, like, I mean, really, seriously, John, you don't suck, man. you got a good voice, man.
I had one until yesterday.
No. I mean, you just belted it out there, man. You sound good, man.
Thank you.
Brian Brian with Defiant Silence,
Aetha.
good voice, man. It's actually
He's an
Aetha.
atheist.
Well, you know, but I call him
Might not get my last
Athea.
name right
I
either.
like throwing that IA at the end there. It's Brian
Martin knows,
Aetha.
yeah.
Aetha.
Sometimes it's spelled
But
wrong.
anyway, no, really, seriously, man. All bullshit aside, I'm really pushing for more bands to go out and see more bands. I'm gonna keep saying it and saying it and saying it until I start seeing it. And with that said, I got Originals Night coming up again. We're gonna go ahead and do Sons of Samson, 6 to the Wheel, and we're bringing in a band. Well, I'm bringing in a band from Macon called Homeless Hill.
Yes.
And you know, and basically, I want to try to bring in some bands from different areas, Warner Robins, Macon, Augusta, with some of the local bands to kind of try to mix them in, man. Because you know what, they're hustling too, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's a hustle, and you know, and I understand. But you know what, it only takes one time for somebody to show up there and like you. And like what you sound like, and like your style, and like you know, a lot of the things that there's a lot of bands out there that I really like, you know, but it's hard to bust into the music industry. I mean to get a record deal. Is a record deal is where it's at right now? Is it?
I would say no.
Yeah. Good.
Music's in an interesting transition right now, where the major label funding is definitely a way of springboarding your music into the forefront, but the independent labels are really taking over. You have a lot of bands that are actually large drawing on tour and things like that now that are on independent labels or self-released labels, things like that. That you know, they may eventually sell to a large label to help put in front of more people, but there's a level of success to be achieved on the independent circuit, and I feel like within as much as has changed in the past 10 years, 10 years from now, you could have a completely different landscape where the source of the music is that you're hearing, even on the corporate radio and things like that. But I also think with the growing popularity of your on-demand internet radio, like your Django and iHeartRadio, Pandora, things like that, will also become the norm, and FM radio could die in our lifetime. So that's could have a complete shift in landscape, and at least I'm hoping so for my own selfish reasons. But you know, it's not a bad thing. You know, there's better music out there than what you're exposed to. So.
How long you been doing this? How long you've been hitting that original music road? How long you been doing it, man?
I probably wrote the closest thing I would call to a complete song when I was probably 15.
And you're how old now?
Not 15.
Right. So what you're trying to say, basically, in a nutshell, is you've been stroking out this a while.
It's been through a lot, and even here recently, we were actually on an independent label based out of the Kentucky area, and the label actually dissolved, so we're back into the back into the general
Now,
population.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to cut you off right there because you're talking about a dissolved label. Was it actually a label, or was it a wannabe label?
That's a very legitimate question.
Yeah.
Because I can do a New York Nick production label, and I can give you $1,000 and say you're on my label, right?
That could
Right?
That could consider
even get
be an upgrade. No, from a
I'm putting you on the spot. I
from
understand.
a context. I mean, I don't want to run anybody down or anything like that. It certainly wasn't the coolest thing that we ever had happen to us, but
Well, these are the things that I like to talk about. These are the things I like to make other bands aware of, because you guys are trying to follow dreams. You guys are trying to get heard. You're trying to get out there, and then you got some freaking schmozo coming along saying, "Hey, man, we're gonna go ahead and offer you this, and we're gonna do this for you," and then all of a sudden, we're not a company anymore. We're dissolving. We're going in the dirt.
yeah.
And that's why I do what I do. I'm the devil advocate. I'm the guy from up north that says what's on his mind, and that's just the deal. And I want to be upfront, as honest with everybody, because I don't want to schmooze anybody. I'm doing this for you guys, and I want you guys to be heard because I like your stuff. I think you got an awesome voice. I think you have a lot of potential to be heard on the radio. Guys like Daughtry got freaking lucky, man.
Right. Absolutely.
The dude was a service advisor at a dealership, and then he tried out for American Idol. The guy was good, and he got his freaking deal.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's on tour, man.
Yep.
You got to give that stuff credit, man. And I give those programs credit. Everybody's American Idol list, the X Factor, that. You know what? That's doing justice to what I believe. I believe, everybody calls them shows stupid and a waste of time. It's reality. It's real people. It's real people that on the flip side would never be normally heard, and it gives people an opportunity to be heard. And then there's nothing stupid about that. It's just mainstream now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on that? What's your thoughts on American Idol and those shows?
I'm not a huge fan just to watch myself.
With that said.
Yeah. They've come a long way from what they were in the beginning. They at least have people who are, also, playing instruments and doing original music, things like that on their. That's actually part of their programming now, is to have. They've kind of moved away from the glorified karaoke aspect of it and actually trying to find artists as opposed to vocalists.
Right.
So I'll give credit in that respect. As though my opinion matters as to what American Idol is doing, But
I've always hated it.
So basically, see that's why Alex? Why?
I don't know.
All right, because you know what? That's just a bigger and a more glorified. What I'm trying to do here.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying there hasn't been no good that came from it, but I don't know. It's just cheesy to me in some ways.
When you say it's cheesy, why?
I don't know, because
just the whole contest thing.
Yeah, well, I've actually had some friends go try out. He's taking my picture.
So have I.
And,
actually, I've had several Facebook buddies do the voice thing Friday.
Yeah, well, the voice is kind of cool. I don't really mind that all that much, but a lot of friends, my friends actually went and tried out for American Idol, and they told me some of the steps what they had to do, and I'm just like, what?
Share that with us.
They said you either had to try out in front of some camera guys, and then if they decide, then you have to go try out for another pair of camera guys, and then if you got their attention, then you get to go to the Simons, Paul.
So they want somebody with some pizzazz that's going to be entertaining, and
I guess
if you have a good voice, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pass through.
Yeah,
right.
I've heard similar testimony where it's almost like they're still trying to make it the real world. They just want to make sure they can sing too.
But they want somebody with some personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want some personality. They don't want some dud on there.
Yeah.
You know, and they're gonna pick out. They're gonna pick out the certain amount of jokes. You know, they come on there that's gonna make you laugh to keep you entertained. Which I get. I get it. I get the whole concept. I think it's a good thing to some point. But everybody's got an opinion, right?
Oh yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Well, I found the auditions pretty funny. I'll watch those. But that's about it.
We're about getting ready to wrap this up here tonight. Boy, that hour went fast. All right, let's just go over a few things before you take us out with another little ditty. Website.
www.stonethrowonline.com.
Okay. Shows coming up.
The 24th at the Monkey Barrel in Gainesville, Georgia. The 29th at the Nick in Birmingham, Alabama. 30th is, I guess, the next logical date at the Soul Kitchen in Mobile, Alabama. And then Thunder's Tavern.
Speaking of these, hold on 1 second.
Sorry.
Alabama and Mississippi and all these places, do you get better reception at these places?
We've gone over fairly well everywhere we've been to in the out of state markets thus far. The amount of exposure you get varies. We're on the ticket with a couple of pretty well drawing local bands, and on the 2 weekend dates, the Mobile and Pascagoula dates we're on with other local bands that are from those areas that draw pretty well. So we expect the exposure level to be increased from what it was if we were just doing it on our own. But we really haven't had a Citizen Dick moment where we've gotten booed out of Portland or anything.
So go ahead, continue on. What else?
What is it from?
What else you got? What else you got? What else you got?
Then we've got the Candlebox show on the 11th of April.
That's going to be big.
That's going to be really big.
Oh,
I can't wait for that, actually.
Oh, me either.
That's going to be cool.
They're a great live show, too. I saw them I guess it was the last time they were through.
Facebook?
Stonethrow music. And Stonethrow is all one word. Nick did it correctly. He is.
He's the only one.
Yeah, he's
ever done
about
it
the only one. So, but Stonethrow is all one word. So if you are looking for us on there, Stonethrow TV is the YouTube user. We have the video for the Long Kiss Goodnight on there. Twitter, Stonethrow ATL.
Who's your favorite band to play with in Atlanta?
We about had as much fun with these guys as anywhere. And I'm not saying it because they're in here. The Stonethrow Defying Silence show back in, what was that?
We might just have to do that.
January. That was a lot of fun.
Why don't we do a date? Defiant Silence, Stonethrow. I'll bring another out of towner, and we'll do it the last week of April.
Yeah, our drummer's out still.
Oh, he's still out.
Yeah.
Jeez, when's he done?
His tampon is so wedged in his vagina.
He wants it to heal. Well, that was just a thought. I thought I'd put him on the spot right here live.
Give me a copy of your CD. I'll learn it. I'll drum for you. Yeah. I just want a copy of the CD. Yeah,
well, guys, I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Defiant Silence. Jake, Brian.
Stonethrow is amazing. Hit me wet.
In the house. Our studio audience. Give yourselves a hand, guys.
Studio audience.
A lot of fun.
Jake, I appreciate it. Brian, I appreciate it.
Those sound like concert tickets to me.
Concert tickets. Tell them how they can get in touch with you real quick. Give them an email address.
Mail at stonethrownline.com. Mail as in your like mailbox. Not your all mail review.
$15.
$15 pre-sale. They're $25 at the door. So that's like 2 beers.
Go to Stonethrow's. Go to Stonethrow's Facebook.
Yeah, we'll be glad to meet
just
up
how
with
it
you.
says right here, Stonethrow, and hit them up, man. They'll hook you up with some tickets, $15 a pop. You don't want to miss that show, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Take us out on one, will you?
All right. Phew. I guess we'll do the.
My name is New York Nick. I appreciate everybody watching this. If you are. If not, the rerun will be on YouTube. The rerun will be on YouTube. It's called the St. Patrick's Day Hangover. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
This is a song that is targeted to be our third single off of that EP, The Spark and the Flame, and it's a song called Shades of You. It's our little balladish kind of thing here. So. It's been a long, cold December. Still I haven't heard the news. And yesterday, seen yesterday. Tomorrow's nothing new. Guess I never reached the middle. If I'm just standing still, well, still I dream, and seasons change, and the silent halls still have so much to say, and tears don't sting, and hearts won't break. In the portrait of my world I paint today, you know the sun ain't shining through. It's being veiled in gray and blue, and getting lost in shades of you. I can long since remember such a distant point of view. At best the rain falls less today. Well, the flood's still overdue. Now I climb these walls, disguised in nothing, disposing of the mirrors all around, and surprising you by self-destructing. I'll barely make a sound. I guess I never reached the middle. If I'm just standing still, well, still I dream, and seasons change, and the silent halls still have so much to say, and tears don't sting, and hearts won't break. In the portrait of my world I paint today, you know the sun ain't shining through. It's being veiled in gray and blue, and get lost in shades of you.
Thank you all for watching. This has been a New York Nick production. Good night.